If he wasn't already here, many of those of a sky blue hue would gladly send Dion Dublin to Coventry. This week, their talismanic totem turned down the most lucrative contract the club has ever offered. Middlesbrough have agreed a fee for his services. The letters page of the local paper is full of accusations of greed, yet Dublin retains the armband of captaincy. The Coventry team, of which he's still for the moment a part, shows 3 changes. Roland Nielsen is back after flu, George Boateng after suspension, and Trond Egil Saltvedt after a spell on the bench. Defender Richard Shaw is the most unexpected absentee, dropped for the first time since Gordon Strachan took control. The Arsenal lineup shows a change of shape. Gone is 4-4-2. Wright and Overmars are both hamstrung, so there's another chance for Nicola Anelka, and there's a Premiership debut for 18-year-old Matthew Upson, whose only previous taste of league football was as a substitute for Luton Town. Stephen Lodge is, according to those who keep count, the least prolific brandisher of coloured cards in the Premiership, which may be just as well today because neither side's disciplinary record could be described as exemplary. Coventry kicking from the right, and the first long ball aimed towards Dublin, and fielded ultimately by David Seaman. Still 1 or 2 boos for the Coventry skipper. Petit, Winterberg. Very firmly by Boateng. Vieira lost it to Saltvedt. And this is Whelan! Well, it was Keown's failure to clear convincingly that gave him the chance. Time to size it up, but no power to beat Seaman. Could be retreating, now turns and pursues it. In vain. Parler. Saltvedt can't get to him. In fact, hardly anyone can. It's still Parler. Down he goes. Burrows was the defender. Referee waves play off. Protests are not too vehement from Arsenal. Parler had gone an awfully long way. Well, there was contact. And on other days, at other grounds, who knows? Vieira. Nielsen. Neatly to Telfer. Dublin. And here's Saltvedt. Now, can he turn past Bold? He can lay it off. And it's in! Noel Whelan. It was a toss-up as to who would kick the ball, Dublin or Whelan. But Whelan showed no respect for seniority. Jabbed his foot at the ball and Seaman was beaten. Saltvedt, though, deserves all the credit. The Norwegian held it up despite the attentions of Bold, who was tugging at his shirt. And then it was just a question of who would score. And the answer is Whelan, and more importantly, Coventry. He's the man that took the decision to include Saltvedt today. He's not played too many games of late, the Norwegian. But the note-taking has paid off. Another test for Williams. He's hurling himself into every conceivable challenge. Now he's going to let someone else have a go. Telfer. Nielsen gaining ground for him. Saltvedt is advanced in this attack. Delayed the pass to the very last moment. Telfer's cross. Saltvedt! No doubt the better football is coming now from the men in sky blue. A flowing move. Fine cross and a header not too far away. Winterberg. A little shove from Telfer just before the ball arrived. Throw will find Huckabee. So a bit of tugging at him, but Huckabee still has it. And he went down, and the referee was not at all interested. Saltvet. Huckabee. Still going, Huckabee through the legs of Fold. It's Darren Huckabee! Well, Seaman got a touch to it, and as such, that was a fine save. But for Seaman's fingertips, it would have been another contender for goal of the month. Dublin! Well, where was Arsenal's marking at that set piece? Pulled away from his supposed marker. Whelan. Dixon couldn't clear it effectively. Huckabee has succeeded in staying onside and has the legs on Keogh. It's still Huckabee. But he has this mesmeric ability to keep the ball just about under control and close to his feet. And defenders are petrified of him. Bold. Hooked forward. No flag. It's Huckabee. Not for the first time of asking. Teasing the defender, and Upson did well to get a foot in. Whelan. Well, Upson recovered well a second time, but Patti's lost it. Arsenal conspiring to do their very best to give Coventry a second goal. Seaman hurls it out. How many chances is Darren Huckabee going to have? That was where Upson did his job very well. Upson. Boateng. Saltvet. Wide for Huckabee. Surely this time Seaman's come and has saved the day yet again for Arsenal. And Arsenal are making a real mess of clearing their lines, which is entirely in keeping with their performance today. Very rarely do you see something as ragged as this from the men from Highbury. Parlour. Out of play. Well, I wonder if the number of chances presented to Huckabee will reach double figures before he manages to score. Dixon. Bergkamp. Out by Williams. The referee has looked at his watch on a number of occasions. And as Boateng's clearance floats into opposition territory, Bold is the man who comes across. Now the referee has seen enough for the time being. And so, I would imagine, have the fans who follow Arsenal. They have been ragged. The new system that they're playing doesn't seem to suit them. And Noel Whelan's goal separates the sides when, in truth, after Saltvet with a driving display in the centre of midfield had urged them forward at every opportunity, they might, had Huckabee's finishing been a little steadier, have been 3 or even 4 goals clear. At half-time, though, Coventry 1, Arsenal 0 is the way of it. Well, the first period was divided into 2 very distinct halves. Two sides more or less level prior to the goal, and thereafter Coventry largely in charge and Arsenal looking distinctly uncomfortable. It's also a measure of Coventry's feeling that the game is there for the taking, that Gordon Strachan made a point of going into the referee's room during the half-time interval and asking the official to beware what he sees as Arsenal's time-wasting and gamesmanship. Winterburn. Boateng dangerous, giving it to Bergkamp. Coventry on the defensive, Parlour's making a run, it's Bergkamp. And Hedman needed 3 goes at it. Dangerous man to see bearing down on your goal. Cold. No by Saltford. Whelan. Huckabee, ever available. Cross towards Dublin. Upson seemed to be holding him. There was a tussle between the two of them. The referee chose to ignore it. Boateng. Huckabee. Still Huckabee through the legs of the defender again. It's a favourite trick. It's Dublin. A little earlier, Dublin felt he should have had a penalty. Watch him on the right of the picture, tussling with Upson, who seems to have his arms around him. Dublin felt he should have had a spot kick for that. He could be turning. It was blocked by Grimondy. No free kick. Green. Boateng. Upson. For whom this is turning into quite a baptism. Grimondy. Nielsen's header was uncertain. Oh, Williams has left the back pass short, and Bergkamp gets the equaliser. Poor Paul Williams, who hasn't put a foot wrong prior to that. A crucial mistake and a costly mistake. And Dennis Bergkamp scores in the Premiership for the first time in 15 weeks. The header back lacks weight, and Bergkamp finds the net in a league match for the first time since there were leaves on the tree and since there was a gusting wind in the sails of Arsenal's Premiership challenge. Bold. Nielsen. Here's Dublin with the header. Such cut and thrust to this game at the moment. Looking after Dennis Bergkamp is hard enough, and his persistence has paid off. And that goal from Dennis Bergkamp is something of a bonus for Arsene Wenger, because Arsenal had been outplayed. Huckabee, who should surely have the legs on Grimondy, who took no prisoners. Well, if you're being honest, he took one, who was Huckabee. And although he's only been on the field for 10 minutes of the second half and a few moments in the first, Gilles Grimondy has found his way into Stephen Lodge's notebook. Telfer. Whelan. Couldn't make meaningful contact, largely because of the presence of Patrick Vieira breathing down his shirt collar. Telfer has taken these set pieces exceptionally well. Every one of them has been a threat. Dublin. He had a couple of yards start on Huckabee this time. Bergkamp. Parler to his right. Melker ahead of him. Good hand of play by Roland Nielsen. Patrick Vieira. Bergkamp. Williams with him. Dixon didn't really want it on his left foot. Anelka! Arsenal have turned the game right around in the space of 7 minutes. Only Nicola Anelka's second goal for the club. And from a scuffed shot by Dixon, Hedman should have made it his, failed so to do, and paid the price. The deflection didn't help Coventry's cause, but even so, Nicola Anelka should have been denied by Magnus Hedman in the Coventry goal. Burrows, Dublin, Telfer, Boateng. Nielsen. A clash between Whelan and Lee Dixon, and the yellow card produced in the direction of Whelan is no great surprise. Goals from Nicola Anelka have been collector's items this season. The deflection took the ball beyond Breen, but Hedman won't enjoy watching a rerun of that particular moment. In some senses, Arsenal are staging an escape, because they could easily have been too far behind to retrieve the situation at half-time, but now they lead 2-1. Seems to be Coventry's best hope, trying to get Grimondi turned and Huckabee in beyond him. Vieira who took Huckabee down, Vieira who has already been booked for a foul on the same player. Grimondi is struggling enough to get control of Huckabee. Some referees might have given a free kick for Huckabee's aggression, but Mr. Lodge has given one for the subsequent foul by Patrick Vieira. Telfer has delivered these well all afternoon. Appeals for handball, it was by Vieira, and it's a penalty. And Patrick Vieira has got to be extremely careful. But if he does stay on, which I think he's going to, then he's going to have to watch as the penalty is taken, and he's spoken out of turn, and he's off. A total lack of discipline from Patrick Vieira. You could see the referee warning him that he'd already been booked, and any further indiscretion would cause a red card. But still, Vieira, having given away the penalty, couldn't keep control of his temper. He's reluctant to leave the field, but Patrick Vieira is the 9th player to be sent off during Arsene Wenger's reign at Arsenal. And Gary Lewin, the physiotherapist, as Wenger watches on, having to be dispatched from the bench to escort Vieira from the field of play. Arsenal have lost their discipline, and now the man of the moment is Dion Dublin. David Seaman, who guided Arsenal through a penalty shootout at Port Vale in the Cup in midweek, now faces up to the man who is on the point, apparently, of leaving Coventry City. It's Dublin against Seaman, and it's 2-2 with an exemplary penalty. And there is not a boo to be heard now around Highfield Road. If there is such a thing as a perfect kick, that is it. If it is to be a farewell appearance in the colours of Coventry City, it's going to be one that will be remembered for a long time for various reasons. So Arsenal down to 10 men, Vieira sent off and pegged back, having been 1 down and 2-1 up, 2-2. And Gordon Strachan, who is not the only angry man inside Highfield Road. The angriest of all has been dismissed. But this is a volatile afternoon. This will be slipped. Gold. Saltvet. Almost mugged. It's Petit. Through to Bergkamp, taken out by Williams. There was no covering defender. And Paul Williams is off. He's having to be pointed towards the dressing room. The referee is actually going to consult his assistant. Jeff Pettit possibly had a better view. Well, Bergkamp seemed to fall without contact being made. And Williams still doesn't know whether he's on or off. A second conversation is going to take place. It is. It's a red card. Williams is off. But I have to say that looking at the replay of that, it's questionable how much contact was made between Bergkamp and Williams. 10 minutes to go, and it is, as they say, all happening. 10 aside. And a free kick from a position in which Bergkamp and Petit can be masters, but not this time. Now, this was the challenge that led to the dismissal of Paul Williams. Judge for yourselves. Seaman. Rolled out immediately to Bergkamp. He's beaten Nielsen. Bergkamp waiting for support from Anelka, who's put it wide. Well, can you remember a second half of a game, or indeed any half of any game, that's produced as much incident as this? Dixon. Sails past Whelan. Has he enough support? There is this man, Bergkamp. He's being booed with his every touch. Parlour. Winterburn. Blocked by Telfer. The final whistle, and honours are shared. Although there were phases of the game where honour perhaps wasn't the most appropriate description. Leon Dublin got the second equaliser for Coventry from the penalty spot after Patrick Vieira's handball had been followed by an argument with the referee that led to the first of 2 red cards. The second was dispatched in the direction of Paul Williams, who was sent off for clipping Dennis Bergkamp as Bergkamp ran clear. 5 yellow cards and 2 red in all. A game that had everything but a winner. Fractious and fascinating in equal measure. Coventry City 2, Arsenal 2, and talking points aplenty. Gordon, 2-2, a game that had everything and a little bit more. Have you calmed down yet?
No, really. We had everything. We had skill, we had character, we had chances, we had good players on the pitch, and what do we get? We get a referee that spoils it for everybody. Spoils it for my club. My players have trained morning, noon and night to work on things that we did today and got no reward for it. It was an absolute disgrace. We hammered them. Make no mistake about that. We hammered them. And it's only because of the referee and a couple of mistakes but we made ourselves. But we had enough chances there and enough chances in the box to win this game outright. And I'll tell you right now, ever since David Ellery, I said something about David Ellery and referees, we have had nothing from referees at this club. And it's gone beyond a joke today. An absolute joke.
What do you do now then, Gordon?
What do we do? We do what Coventry always does. We get somebody to be patronising us tonight and tomorrow, and then we'll get on with our job, because nobody really cares, nobody really listens to what we want to do and where we want to go. So we stick together as a team and play like that all the time. We are going the right direction. I defy anybody to tell us that we are not playing good football.
Your manager, Gordon Strachan, I think is quite unhappy with your compatriot Dennis Bergkamp for the incident that led to Paul Williams being sent off. What was your view?
Well, I asked him in Dutch about whether he was touched or not. He said yes, and he told me he was waiting for the touch because he's so clever, and that's what he done, and he gets what he wanted. So, yeah, there's nothing to do about it. If you touch him, then obviously you must go off.
I don't think that Dennis wanted him to be sent off. I just wanted the free kick. Maybe he touched him at the back of his leg, and then he fell down. But I've not the feeling that Dennis wanted him sent off.
Originally, I thought that Bergkamp was sort of tripped, or his foot was certainly touched by Williams, the Coventry player, and that's why I sent the guy off and gave the foul. But obviously, Coventry have asked me to look at the video. I've looked at it a couple of times here at the club, and I'm still not too happy either way. So I'm going to take it home and have a look at it on my slow motion video, just to try and make sure that natural justice is done.
What will you say to your players now?
It's very hard to speak to them, really, because they've done absolutely... I couldn't have asked them to make as many chances as that against Arsenal. Their back four have been the best back four in the country, along with Pallister and his lot at Manchester. They've been the best back four for 10 years. They're magnificent players, great pros, and we've cut through them today. I know they had a game on Wednesday, but Arsenal teams have done that before, played games, and they're used to games. So we have done our job properly, and I say we've not been rewarded.
So here we go with the patronising then. Managers complaining about refs is not unusual. What sort of case did Gordon Strachan have there today, do you think?
I didn't think the referee had a brilliant game, but when Gordon Strachan calms down a bit and he reflects on that performance, he'll be right when he says that Coventry in the first half were magnificent. You know, they had 5 or 6 chances to win the game, and they lost 2 bad goals in the second half. So therefore, if you analyse the thing correctly, they're only themselves to blame why they didn't get 3 points. As I say, the referee wasn't brilliant, but the only bad decision that I thought he made was the sending off. I can't understand. Petit plays it through here. Now Bergkamp runs through. Williams is tracking back. There's a little bit of contact there. I think he's late gone down. Basically, for me, he could stay on his feet there, and Williams doesn't get sent off. Watch the contact here. He doesn't raise his foot.
He just touches his foot.
He touches his foot. It's another half stride before Bergkamp goes down. I think if Bergkamp stays on his feet there, the referee
No, but the fact was he went down, and the interpretation is that he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. If he gets fouled, and he's interpreted that as a foul, he has to send the player off, doesn't he?
No.
He does, it's part of the law.
I think that common sense has got to prevail. For me, that law was brought in because players were clipping players. When the ball was going through, the defender was coming across them and clipping them. There's no way that Williams clipped Bergkamp there.
Well, he touched him, and as a result, he went down.
He hasn't touched him deliberately. Bergkamp's gone across Williams. Williams is trying to get the other side of him. There's a little bit of contact, but you could never say it was a tackle or a clip. It was unintentional, all right. The law says intent doesn't come into it. But for me, if the referee's shown any common sense there, he would have said Bergkamp should have stayed on his feet and Williams don't get sent off.
Right. Alan played as a defender. Now,
there you go.
Arsenal, efficient Arsenal we've been used to. Arsenal with flair we've seen this season. Today, they didn't seem to have either of those things.
They were all over the place.